Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director David Riggleman. Today, we introduce you to the new City Attorney, and we'll talk about some upcoming events. Joining me now is Councilwoman Nancy Brune, who, of course, represents Ward 6. Councilwoman, welcome back to the
Hi,
Pro.
David.
How are you?
Great, great.
Summer is over for the kids. How
It
did this
is,
happen?
yeah.
Your kiddos back to school. And wow.
Yeah.
And so everybody, please drive safe out there. The young ones are out and about again in the mornings and the afternoons. So Ward 6, things are popping out there. We have a good show today. We've got a special guest
yes,
we're going to introduce everybody to.
Guest.
Yeah, in a minute. But in the meantime, tell everybody where Ward 6 is located if you're not exactly sure. Here's the map. It's right at the top of the valley. If you live in that area or work in that area, of course, then you're in the city limits of the City of Las Vegas. And if you're a resident out there, you have been represented on the City Council since December by none other than Nancy Brune. And you've been busy. Someone in the first 6-7 months of the job just hit the ground running.
And we're especially busy in August. So I'm looking forward to talking about our events that we have coming up.
We've got a lot. Stay tuned, everybody, at the end of the show. But in the meantime, Councilwoman Brune and I have a very special guest, as I mentioned, with us today. It's your chance to meet our newly ratified, appointed, officially in office City Attorney, Mr. Jeff Dorocak. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Well, thanks for having me, Dave, and Councilwoman for having me as well on the show. 24th City Attorney, excited to be here.
Congratulations to you. It's a big job, a big honor for you.
Right.
Councilwoman, I know the council, unanimous decision for Jeff.
Yeah, very easy decision.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been with the City Attorney's office for a few years. You've been a practicing lawyer for a number of years. Tell everybody a little bit about your background so they get to know you a little.
Yeah, I've been out of law school for 13 years now. I've been with the City Attorney's office for 9. In 2014, I joined, and I've had some great mentors and teachers in the office, attorneys along the way. We've done litigation work together, all the city's constitutional civil rights claims, a lot of personal injury actions, and I've also had some great work with the legislative team in terms of the city laws, city ordinances. In 2019, I started working with the City Council, and that's been a lot of fun. There's always a lot of issues that we're dealing with and working on together. And in 2021, Brian Scott made me the Assistant City Attorney, and the City Council voted for me as City Attorney just a week ago, and I'm very excited about the opportunity. I've been out in Nevada now for about 11 years. My partner and I are both from Ohio. I did Ohio State for undergrad, or excuse me, for law school, and exactly, and Notre Dame for undergrad. So I'm very happy to be a Las Vegan and be in the Valley, and I don't plan on going anywhere, even past retirement.
Excellent. That sounds good to me, Jeff. And Councilwoman, I think the council was, again, unanimous in their decision. Jeff said something, and I wanted that he told you all at council, and I thought this was such a great quote, Jeff, and it also ended up in the news media, too, because it was such a good quote. But he told you guys that people really don't care who the city attorney is, but they certainly care how his office performs, his or her. And talk a little bit about that, both of you. I thought that was a great quote.
Yeah, well, I'll let Jeff share the quote again, but I will tell you, this was an open search to remind, our residents. It was the first time in many years that we'd actually had an open search, and our inboxes blew up with all of the letters of support for Jeff, both here internally from staff, but also from the community, because he's been super involved in the community, which I think is, really important for our next city attorney. And I haven't been here very long, but Jeff really made a great first impression because he's thorough, he is very responsive, and what I really appreciate about him, and I think he fits in with our city culture, is that when we've brought him a project or an idea, he'll say, well, I'm not sure if we can do it, but let me look at it. And so he sort of finds a way to say yes, which I think is really important.
We joke about that, a lawyer that actually doesn't say no initially. There he is, right there. He's one in about 100 million. So, Councilwoman, I just like Jeff because he's from Ohio too. So that was good enough for me. But Jeff, tell us about the quote too that you said. It was so well said, and reiterate that a little bit for the viewers that maybe didn't see the meeting.
Well, the quote was that 650,000 Las Vegans, our population, they don't care that I, Jeff Dorocak, am the new city attorney. They're really interested in what we do to deliver for them. And I think in public service, humility is essential because no one is irreplaceable. We're all here to do a job ultimately for the citizens, ultimately for their elected officials. And I'm going to come into this position as city attorney with that mindset that I need to deliver, because anybody can take the job, but I need to make sure I'm working for the people right now, and that's what I want to do.
And I will say that's really important for me in particular because I ran on a platform of restoring trust in local government, and I was just realizing, because we try to get back to every single person that calls or emails with really detailed information. I realized this morning, like, I'm able to do that because our city team responds to me, and so the fact that Jeff has been so responsive, I think will just again help all of our goals to sort of the community goal to make sure that residents do feel it like local government is being responsive and that their tax dollars are being used effectively to help them at the end of the day.
I think that's a wonderful point, because that's a mantra here at the city is if people have inquiries, if they have issues, they reach out to us. This is part of the reason we do these kinds of programs, is we want them to know that we're going to respond to them, and it's not going to be, well, I called City Hall, nobody got back to me. That's not how it works here. So all the council offices, staff across the board. So.
That's great.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about what's your vision for the office. You're coming in, you're replacing Brian Scott. He's a legend in his own right, having been your predecessor, made a lot of wonderful changes in the office. But what's your vision now? You were someone who was mentored by him. What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, it might sound trite, but the goal is to be the best public law office in the country. How do you do that? Well, we need to be staffed with attorneys and professionals who are the smartest or the hardest working people that we can find. And as you mentioned, Brian Scott's made a lot of great changes, and one of them was being more inclusive, making sure we were reaching out to find that talent, and that's what we're going to continue to do. There's going to be no limit on who we reach out to for these positions. Any background is welcomed. You meet the qualifications, you have the work ethic, we are going to bring you in to be part of our team because we need to succeed as an office. If we succeed as an office, we will be able to work well not only with the City Council and on their initiatives, public safety, economic development, healthcare, but also with our changing leadership team at the city. We're going to have a new city manager in a couple weeks, and we want to be there to support everybody from every department to every manager, the management team, and the City Council. And I know the way to do that is to build the best law office we can be. At 63 employees, we are a good-sized law office, whether public or private, and we need to be focused on delivering the results that we talked about earlier.
And I think, Jeff, to your point, and Councilwoman, I'll let you jump in, but to your point, your office also handles criminal cases, misdemeanor cases. You're the prosecutors, your office prosecute, but you also handle all the civil issues that the city has. So most law firms concentrate on one thing or another. Yours has to cover everything.
Right. Government in-house counsel is everything. It's working with the City Council, giving them advice, working with departments, dealing with contracts, dealing with civil claims. But more importantly, for a lot of people out there, it's dealing with crime, misdemeanors in the city of Las Vegas. And we have an entire team of prosecutors who do that, and they have a great staff in our municipal court building. And you're exactly right, Dave. In this broad area, we need to be ready to go.
Councilwoman, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, Jeff, in the interview, actually came in with a 100-day plan, and so it's very clear he's got some goals and a vision, and I think we're in great hands.
Right, we're on day 2.
How's it going so far, Jeff?
Keep track.
Got it done, okay. Councilwoman, when you came into office, you've highlighted a lot of issues for the community to address and tried to raise awareness on those. One of those is the opioid crisis that we're facing here, and it just so happens that we're going to get a large opioid settlement from various manufacturers out there and retailers as well. Talk a little bit about how you think Jeff is going to help sort out making sure we're getting what's due and how we can make sure that money is used to help people who are maybe battling addiction of some type.
Yeah, what's really interesting is in all these conversations about the opioid settlement funds, it's really been the AG's office and then all of the legal departments in the jurisdiction. So, the service providers and folks on the ground who are affected, haven't been part of those conversations yet. We're just starting them at the city, but it's really been, Jeff and his team that have been handling the contracts and the negotiations and sort of have the best sense of sort of what the financial flows look like over the next 10 to 18 years. So he really is our subject matter expert right now, and hopefully we'll have the conversations with the stakeholders and develop a regional plan on where we spend the money to address the gaps that we currently have in our drug rehab treatment system.
There's a lot of places where we could apply that for sure.
Yeah.
Jeff, where do we stand with the whole opioid settlement? Is more money likely to come in? Are we kind of at the beginning of this? Is it tapering off? Where are we in this whole process, do you think?
I would say we're in the last third of the entire project. The City of Las Vegas has just over $11 million approved in settlement funds that will be coming our way over the years. We have about $1.5 million in the bank already. Yeah. We're looking at approximately another $6 million from a few other defendants in the cases. We are working, as Councilwoman mentioned, closely with the Attorney General's office, closely with 28 other local governments throughout Nevada. We essentially have an agreement that sets forth the percentages of the settlements that come through once the Attorney General's office secures the settlements. So the city sees about 7% of a pot that goes to the statewide plaintiffs. And the money is coming in. We're going to continue to get money. And as Councilwoman said, at this point, it's been the Attorney General's office and lawyers at the local government level dealing with the situation of getting the money. Now the question becomes, what do you do with that money? And that's for our policymakers to decide. And like she said, you bring in your stakeholders, you bring in the regional entities that are part of it and have ideas on how you deal with substance abuse, how you deal with opioid issues and stopping recidivism with respect to it. And that's where we are, and that's where the council is going to make its decisions next. We have some guidance from the state, both with a needs assessment and with statutory language in NRS 433. But the rubber is about to hit the road in terms of what we do with the money, and that's why it's with a councilwoman like Councilwoman Brune, who's very focused on the results, the data. It's going to be a great opportunity for her to really take a lead on the opioid settlement money, especially with the city.
Jeff, let me ask you this. As far as the settlement money, do you feel like it's been fair? Do you feel like there's money left on the table? Do you feel like this whole settlement issue has been equitable for the damage that it's done? I know it's a tough question to maybe try to get some perspective on, but do you feel it's been adequately resolved as we move through it at this point?
Well, I think any person who's a victim of opioid abuse or is a relative of someone who's a victim of it is not going to be satisfied with the results. I mean, you're talking about money when lives were damaged or lost. Yeah. So that's a separate problem, and obviously I don't think anyone's going to say $1 is equal to whatever happened there. In terms of the settlement funds themselves, the state did a very nice job of reaching out to all the local governments. There was a lot of communication about setting up the agreement and the percentages of the funds that would go to the local entities. So I think it was equitable. It was fair.
Okay.
In addition to that, beyond the money that we get, we can go to the state and ask for some of their money. So it's not as though each entity is cut off by whatever you got. You can reach out to the Attorney General's office and the state and augment when you have ideas about what you want to do with it.
And you know, the Attorney General also went to Ohio State Law School, so
we have an
right. We have a very big takeover happening in Nevada.
Exactly, and former Governor Sandoval also went to Ohio State Law School. So there you go. They must be teaching you something right there. So very good.
Smart
no argument from me on that.
Move to Nevada.
Exactly. Councilman Jeff talked about the council's priorities, one of which is public safety. And one of the objectives under public safety is to find alternatives to incarceration. Rather than just going to throw people in jail and throw fines at them, we've created alternate means through things like our specialty courts. That's been a very successful thing, something I know that you've supported very much since coming into the city council. Talk a little bit about that and how that's important, Jeff. We want to hear from you as well, how those courts and the city attorney's office have to work hand in hand so that the prosecution works with the bench to make sure that we've got, for people who are especially repeat offenders, there's an opportunity to maybe help break that cycle of whatever it is. They're addicted, they're a youth offender, maybe they're a woman who's been incarcerated many times for things like prostitution potentially. And let's talk a little bit about that.
So just for some background, I think the city or the municipal court started the first specialty court back in 2004, HOPE Court, which stands for Habitual Offender Prevention Education. And the idea, and then since then we've started 6 specialty courts, which Jeff can share more about. But the idea is, again, to provide, or in the courts, you really focus on solutions and treatment and intensive case management and connecting the offender. Many times with the Hope Court, it's a drug abuser.
Right.
Connecting them to the resources that they need sort of to address the root cause of the problem, like why they ended up in the court system.
Back
And
again
so,
and again,
and the research shows that it's a really effective way to help people and keep them out of clogging our criminal or our jails and things like that. So I've been to a couple of the graduations. They're very emotional and inspiring, and
these folks are turning their lives around.
Yeah, and it's not easy, but I think, again, the research shows that whatever the sort of area, the wraparound support services and the case management can really help someone who's trying to change the trajectory of their life. So we've got 6 of them, and Jeff will oversee them and work closely.
And Jeff, this isn't a pass. It's not like, well, we're just gonna kind of pat these folks on the head or give them a little slap on the wrist and hope that this goes away. This is a program where they've got to, if they want, they can break that cycle of whatever it is causing them to go back into the system again and again.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. And as Councilwoman said, our prosecutors, we have 11 prosecutors in our criminal division. They are on the front lines with these specialty courts, and a new program that was just established by this council, which is the Psychiatric Stabilization and Treatment Program. So we have the courts plus the program. We have the prosecutors on the front lines. They're there. They're with the defendants. They're with the judges. They're with the caseworkers, making sure, to your point, that the program requirements are met, the eligibility requirements are met. The goal, of course, as everyone said, is to make sure that willing defendants succeed. If they succeed in the program, the case can be properly disposed of, dismissed. If they don't meet the requirements, they fall off, and then we go other routes, and maybe they come back to this path, like you mentioned. But what's also important with our prosecutors being there is, as a frontline member of the staff, they can see what's going on. They can see trends. They can see issues with defendants. And our job as the attorney's office is not to be a policymaker, but at least we can relay information to the policymakers, whether it's Councilwoman Brune, whether it's the court staff, Jack Eslinger, who runs our court, and to advise them and give them ideas of what we're seeing. And we're already doing that. Carly Helbert, who runs our criminal division, has spotted some things with respect to maybe some front-end casework improvement, just in terms of augmenting the staff. Not that anyone's doing anything poorly, but they need help. So how we can do that, and that's going to be the type of thing that we are definitely going to assist with going forward. We don't want to overstep our bounds, but we want to be able to help out and give ideas, especially when asked.
Jeff, to your point there, give everybody an idea of the caseload on the criminal side that your folks are dealing with and the courts are dealing with.
Right. So the referrals to our criminal division, and keep in mind, these are just misdemeanors, up to 6 months in prison, up to a $1,000 fine. These aren't your gross misdemeanors. These aren't your felonies. That's handled by the district attorney's office for the county. Our attorney's office, criminal division, receives about 24,000 referrals a year, so about 2,000 a month. That's coming from Nevada State Police, that's coming from Metro, that's coming from our own marshals. So our staff does an amazing job, support staff and attorneys, of going through all of these referrals. First of all, and figuring out, is there a crime here? Have they met the elements? How do we proceed? And it's a yeoman's effort. And in terms of Nevada, we are very busy. I believe we're number 2 or number 3 every year in terms of the criminal caseload, and they stay on top of it very well, and we're proud as a city for what they do.
Yeah, good. Congratulations. That's really good. That's an incredible workload. So.
I believe they have received national recognition in our specialty courts.
We're
doing an amazing job.
Yeah, and trend setting to other courts around the country, copying what we've done here in Las Vegas. Jeff, we have just a couple of minutes left. Councilwoman, I'll give you the final word. We'll come back with more information about upcoming events, but we'll give you the final word.
Well, the final word is I'm happy to be here with you, Dave, and Councilwoman.
Vice versa.
You can't do better than Access City Council. So and this truly is a first for me.
On your second day,
right. I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to the job, and I look forward to working for everybody. I mean, the City Council is my boss, but as I said when I was sworn in, I am here to work for the citizens of Las Vegas and everybody who works for the city, all of my colleagues here. So I'm excited about it.
Jeff, I've worked with you for a number of years. I've been here a while myself, and it's always a pleasure. You're a first-rate lawyer, and you're a first-rate city employee. So I'm tickled. I think we all are that the council unanimously saw what we saw, is that you're the man for the job. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
And Councilwoman, we need to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to share some upcoming events that are coming to Ward 6, so please stay with us.
A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
Scary that it can be put into anything and we can't even see it or notice it.
Drop that baby.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Councilwoman Nancy Brune from Ward 6. And we have some great events that are coming up that we want to tell you about. I love the first one, Bocaditos with Brune.
Yes.
That's basically coffee with Brune, right? And
or little appetizers, little bites.
Little bites. See,
yes.
I gotta bone up on my
Spanish,
Spanish.
little bites.
Yeah, little bites, exactly. You've told me that. I'm writing that down now so I don't forget. But that is coming up on August 17th. Those are always in the morning, right?
Yes, 9 to 12. And we're going to start inviting special guests to join us. So on this particular one on August 17th, we'll have our Marshal's Liaison to Ward 6, Lieutenant Bell, and a member of Metro there to answer any questions that residents have about public safety.
Really important, our marshals patrol your parks and facilities out there, so it's a great way to get to know
They've
the
been
guys.
great partners. We pulled them in for a couple of sting operations to address some of the speed, the drag racing we have in the evening. So they've been super responsive.
That is going to be, again, on August 17th, 9 in the morning, out at Centennial Hills Y. And that's where all of them take place, right? Yeah. So, so you don't even have to drive to City Hall, everyone. You could meet with the councilman. It's really nice because very informal. You can meet over some small bites and talk issues, get to know the people who are going to take care of your ward. So,
and get to know neighbors. We always have neighbors.
Exactly.
Neighbors will come and just sit there for a few hours and chat and talk with whoever comes in. So it's great.
Yeah, and we love that. We love when the community. Everybody's looking out for one another. That's good stuff. Then also that very same day, August 17th, later on in the evening, you've got a legislative town hall. Tell everybody about that.
Yes, so Ward 6 is partnering with Ward 4 and Councilwoman Alan Polensky, and we're going to be inviting the legislators that represent our two wards to come share with residents some of the bills that passed in this last legislative session that affect neighborhoods and the city of Las Vegas.
That are now in effect.
Yes, so bring your concerns. I know there's a lot of conversation about AB 220, which addressed septic and water.
Yes.
So hopefully people will come out and hear what bills were passed and what wasn't passed too.
That's an important one that Councilwoman just mentioned. Septic tanks, no longer, you'll have to connect, but good news is there's money set aside to help people make that connection. Again, it's a water conservation effort because water that goes through the storm drain and through your drain, it goes to the treatment plant, it's recycled, goes back to Lake Mead, we get to use it again. Water that goes to a septic tank or into your yard, for that matter, is lost and we can't recover it. So that'd be a great discussion. So again, that starts at 5:30.
And it's at Northwest Career and Technical Academy.
Yeah, Northwest Tech, which if everybody is aware, that's kind of over there off of Tropical, right?
It is, behind the big Walmart,
or
next to the Walmart.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And then Councilwoman, skipping ahead to September 1st, a fun event.
Yeah, we'll have our monthly movie in the park. We'll be showing Guardians of the Galaxy on September 1st. It'll start at dusk. We're having a little twist where we have a superhero costume. So wear your favorite costume.
Are you going to be a superhero then?
I will. I don't know what I'm going to be, but I will.
Okay, sounds
I love
good.
dressing up. Halloween is my favorite holiday.
You know,
so I always
one of
look
your
for every
predecessors back in the past, Councilman Steve Rost, he loved to do the same
thing. Oh, really?
He was always a musketeer, you know, so that was his costume.
Okay.
I can't wait to see what you're going to come up with. And so September 1st, everybody, movie in the park, Guardians of the Galaxy at dusk, and that's at the Centennial Hills Amphitheater. And then you have another town hall meeting with Sheriff McMahill September 12th.
Yes. Yep.
And
also with Councilman Francis Allen Polensky. We did one back in the spring, and it was very well received. Lots of interest from our residents, and you know, public safety is a top concern for our residents. And so we have committed to host a town hall, a public safety town hall every quarter with Sheriff McMahill, so that residents can come here directly from the sheriff and share their concerns. So he's been very great about being responsive and committing to do that.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal man. If you've not met Sheriff McMahill in person, this is an opportunity to do it, but he is very open, friendly. He is really a community-oriented individual. He's doing a bang-up job as our sheriff already. He's just a very not only competent individual, but he's a very likable individual.
Yeah,
as well.
really committed to like the community engagement and getting out there. So it's been great.
Councilman, where is that happening? Where is that?
That's happening at the Police Academy next to the Northwest Area Command on Cheyenne, or Cheyenne and 215.
Yeah, almost if you're going west on Cheyenne, it's right before you get to the 215. It's on the right-hand side.
And if you're not sure whether you're going to join us, we always have refreshments at our events.
Yeah,
so
hey,
bring an appetite. Come for some snacks.
There's always food,
good conversation.
Exactly, and beverages. So that's always good, Councilwoman. Excellent. And then we want to remind everybody, we've been talking about this. Talk about Kyle Canyon. You got a program, Kyle Canyon. You're kind of doing a master plan for the area, way out in the extreme north of Ward 6.
Yeah, so Kyle Canyon is a road that you take to get up to Mount Charleston. So right now, Councilman Francis Allen Polensky and I are both doing special area plans. She's doing one for La Madre Foothills, and I'm doing one for Kyle Canyon. So the goal is to, as we build out that space, really take an opportunity to invite community input into how they envision that area being really developed. It's like a gateway to some of our most beautiful outdoor spaces.
Really important.
Yeah, and again, I heard knocking on doors, people, the residents of Ward 6 felt that development had been done to them and they hadn't had the opportunity to actually weigh in on some of the development projects. So I want to be really intentional about providing a formal opportunity for them to weigh in and share what they like to see for Kyle Canyon. And we are raffling off 2 iPads, so there's an incentive. Anybody who takes a survey will be entered into this pool, and so you have a chance to win a survey, to win a laptop.
So you win. It's
like a 3-question survey. So
so it's a win-win. You could win a laptop, and you might then also be able to give input on what you'd like to see if you're heading up to Mount Charleston. Councilman, I have to say, I've been in Las Vegas many, many years now, and to think that the road to Mount Charleston is somehow involved with the city of Las Vegas because we've grown so far to the north is really phenomenal. That was so far out, away from everything back in my day when I first moved here 36 years ago, but now it's city stuff out there now. It's amazing.
It is mind-blowing.
So, well, Councilwoman, great job. A lot coming up. I hope everybody out there take advantage. These are opportunities to meet with your represented officials, also to have an input into what the future of our valley is going to look like. So. Pleasure having you on the show. I want to tell everybody out there, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Brune, you can find her on Facebook and Twitter. You can also pick up the phone, 702-229-6405, or send her an email. Her address is nbrune@lasvegasnevada.gov, and she or one of her great staff. You have great staff. They will get right back to you. You really do. Good people. They know what they're doing, and they'll get back to you. And even if it's not a city issue, they'll help you figure out where to go. So. Been a pleasure.
Thanks
for
David.
having.
Always a pleasure, and really excited about Jeff and what we've got coming forward. So it's a great time.
It is, and we're finally getting out of the heat a little bit. So more events coming up that we can enjoy. We'll be telling you about those in in the weeks to come, and the years to come probably too. But Councilwoman, we'll have you back in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 6.
And until then, make sure your kids are going to school, and please drive safely and slowly as you're in the school zones.
Here, folks. Let's get through a school year with no issues, no tragedies that relate to that. So very well said. So we'll see you in 6 weeks. Thank you so much. Great job today. And we want to thank you for joining us. Our next Access City Council show begins airing on August 17th with Ward 1 Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem Brian Knudsen. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire, and watch for our QR code in the closing credits of this show to subscribe to our newsletter. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.